everybody, welcome back. If you're new here, hi, I'm Mercury. Welcome to my channel. It's my daily vlog, so whatever I happen to be up to is what you're gonna see here. And today I finished reading another book, so I'm gonna do a little book review. So I finished reading The Midnight Library by Matt Haig, and this was a really enjoyable read for me. This is a book where the story really resonates with me, and it evoked feelings in me that, made me question and reflect and sort of like analyze my own take on things. So what this book is about, and I'm going to try to give a description and try to not really give spoilers, but I want to be able to express why I feel how I feel about the book too. So the book is about a woman who is dying, and she's in this like kind of purgatory limbo area known as the Midnight Library. Basically, the clock stopped at midnight. It doesn't move, time does not pass, and she is in the library. As long as time does not resume passing, she can stay in this library for as long as she wants or needs to. And contained in the library are an infinite amount of books. Infinite. And the books represent alternate versions of her life. It's like the butterfly effect, or that theory of like, if you make one choice differently, what would the outcome of that be, and what is the ripple effect of that, and how every little decision that we make changes infinitely the outcome of our lives. So the analogy is like a tree, right? You have a tree and it grows, and this is the trunk, and then a branch starts to grow. But then there's a choice that's made, and then another branch starts to grow, and then another choice, and then a twig, and then the leaves, and so on and so on and so on. So the idea of every choice that we make in our lives leads to a different outcome. And the core of this is regret. Had I made this choice instead of that choice, what would my life be like? Had I, become the Olympic swimmer, or had I become the rock star, what would my life be like? And those were the theme that the book was exploring. Both how to reconcile within yourself the choices that you make and the not knowing of how those choices would have impacted you, because they had impacts that were not necessarily foreseen, right? Like when you're sitting here and you're like, imagine your life if you had made choice X, Y, or Z, right? And you're sitting there and you're thinking about it. You have all of the benefit of your imagination and the gold and the silver of that experience, but you're not also incorporating the struggles and the heartache and the other aspects of what would come along with that choice. And it's hard to imagine that. It's hard to, predict the full scope of our choices. We try to make educated decisions. We try to make the best possible choices in our lives with the knowledge that we have in hand at that time. But we live a linear existence. It's sometimes we exist in a place in the past, dwelling on the regret, and it holds us in place. And sometimes we need to reflect on what that regret was and analyze, is it actually something we regret? So I will give an example from the book of something that this character went through in what she called her root life, which was her actual living existence, right? That was the life that she was dying, and she, the night before that happened to her, her cat passed away and was found outdoors in the street. And she presumed the cat was hit by a car, and that she was therefore a bad cat parent because she allowed the cat to go outside and meet its demise. But through reading other versions of her life, she came to learn that the cat had like an illness that it was born with, and that in many versions of her life, her cat died at the same moment in time, and it was not because she was a bad cat parent. And that reframing that took place for her made that regret go away, because she realized that regret was actually not founded in reality. So it's very deep in that way, and it makes you rethink, and reflect on yourself. Like, what are some things that you question? What are some decisions you make and you wonder about? There are often times that I will offhandedly say, turn left. And most of the time, people have no idea what I'm talking about when I say that. So here's a little insight into my brain. If I ever just randomly go turn left, and it's not in the context of me giving directions, I'm referencing Doctor Who. And there is an episode in which Donna, so this is David Tennant, 10th Doctor, and Donna is the companion. She ends up with this like giant beetle on her back. And this beetle like messes with her memory. And if she were to turn right and go to like, I think it was like a job interview, or she could turn left and continue on her life the way it was going. And she, and this whole episode goes back and forth to her playing with the blinker, right? Like, which direction is she going to go? Because based on what direction she goes, either she'll meet the doctor or she won't meet the doctor. And that decision to turn left seems so minor, so insignificant. But that small decision to turn left changed Donna's life. And, so anytime that I go turn left, I'm reflecting on choices that I've made in my life. So if you ever hear that crop out of my mouth, you'll now know the reference. But this book was very much in line with that, about, do I go and get a cup of coffee at Starbucks, or am I bringing my own coffee to work today? If I went to Starbucks, am I going to meet somebody at the Starbucks? I don't know. We don't know. And we don't know the outcomes of these little tiny choices we make, and the impact that those choices have on everybody else. Because not just was this main character's life different, all the people around her life was different because of choices she made. And it's so interesting to think about how interconnected as humans we are in society, that the choice to turn left impacts everybody around us. We are not alone in this. And sometimes we feel totally isolated, and sometimes we can be surrounded by people and still feel totally alone. And sometimes we feel totally smothered and surrounded by people, and you're like, no, just go away. We affect more people than we realize. We affect those we see on a daily basis, and we affect people we have never met because of choices we make in our lives. Mind blown. Butterfly flaps its wings in Australia. Does it cause a rainstorm in New York? But we're all interconnected, right? Like, everything we do has outcomes. I don't want to say consequences, because consequences has like this negative connotation, and sometimes it's really good stuff that comes out of our choices. But we need to be thoughtful about our choices, and we need to own our choices. I think that's another aspect of this book that I really did appreciate, which is that it really, you can't keep letting things happen to you, because the choice to do nothing, the choice of inaction, is still a choice, and it's still a choice that you're making. So you need to own your choices. And if you're gonna own inaction, why not own action? Why not put the effort in, do the things, fight for what you want. And, you know, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but I know for me, I got to give it a try, you know, and everyone's different and everyone has their own struggles. And, you know, I know this sounds sort of like grandiose in the way I'm describing it, but, you know, what do I want for dinner? I don't know. You decide for me. I really wanted chicken. Can I have chicken? Right? That's owning a choice. Yeah, it can be a little thing, and that's sort of like the point of this, is the tiny actions that we take can make huge impacts immediately and down the road. You know, it's like, yeah, the chicken will immediately make me full, but I don't know the impact of eating that chicken in 10 years, but it had an impact. The choice to eat that chicken that day had an impact. I don't know what it was, but I'm sure it did. But it's a very interesting read, and it really gets your brain going. And especially if you take the time to self-reflect on, you know, had you been the one in this library and these were your books, what are the stories that you would be reading? What are your alternate lives? What do they look like? Get those wheels turning. Get those things going. You know, the possibilities are endless, and yeah, it's also never too late. We are making choices all the time. So we have this power within us to continue to make choices and continue to push forward and, you know, make this the best life that we got. Because as far as we know, it's the only one we got, you know? So I would definitely recommend reading this book. I really enjoyed both the process of reading the book and this moment of self-reflection afterward. So if this is the type of story that interests you, I would highly, highly recommend it. I was able to take it out from the library, so it is available through public libraries. I'm sure that there are other places that you could buy it, you know, but definitely a good read. Again, it was called The Midnight Library, and the author was Matt Haig. And I'll put a link in the description to this video. So with that, I am off, and I will see everybody tomorrow. And until then, stay inspired by everyone. Take care.